Awesome sauce. What's up, everybody? Salandia Hammond here, affectionately known as Sue Ham, baby. Welcome, 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 welcome. I know it's Sunday. I know it's 8 p.m., but it is what it is. Let me know if you can hear me clearly and if you can see me clearly before we get going. Can you hear me clearly and see me clearly? I do not intend to keep you for any longer than 1 hour. I'm going to be presenting this information rather quickly and briefly. But guess what? I'll give you the recording so that you can watch it again. So if someone could comment, even unmute yourself and let me know if you can hear me and see me, that would be amazing. And then we can get started. I can see and hear you clearly. Thank you so much, Dee Joe. Let's get it cracking. All right, y'all. Welcome to my webinar. For those of you who are not familiar with me, my name is Salandia Hammond, aka Sue Ham, baby. So I'm going to be looking up and down, up and down. I apologize. For the most part, though, I won't even be on here because I'm going to be presenting some slides here. I have 25 slides. And again, I'm going to get through them as quickly as possible, and I will entertain any questions that you may have. So let's get it going. All right. When it comes to real estate, guys, I think that if you're going to be very successful, I think you need to establish a why. For me, my why is I want time freedom. I want to build generational wealth for my children. But don't get it twisted. Let's go ahead and back this thing up. I also want to have money to do the things that I want. I want to go boating, fly planes, travel the world first class, be able to help other people, be able to donate homes, be able to sponsor people through schools, be able to help people start businesses, all of those great things. I also want to prove that it can be done, not prove it to somebody else, but prove it to myself that it can be done. I also want to solve the housing issues that we have. I live in Williamsburg County. I moved back home in 2003, and here it is 20 years later, and we still have housing issues here, meaning it's very, very hard for people to find a place to reside. But that is the case all across the United States at this point in time. And now let's be honest here. My why is also to make passive income because it takes money to have time freedom. It takes money to be able to have generational wealth. And I know generational wealth can be comprised of ideas and all other kind of things, knowledge, but it's also money as well, family, love, all of that great stuff. So it takes money to be able to do this. And I also really have a passion for real estate. And because I know my why, even on the days that I face challenges, I can go back and review why it is that I'm in this baby and then rejuvenate myself and get going again. All right, so I want to ask you guys, because you're joining this webinar, obviously you're interested in real estate investing, right? And I hope that you're really not joining this webinar because you're attracted because of all the gadgets that people display to try to get people's attention, like planes and jets and boats and money and watches and first class trips. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, nobody starts off like that. You got to freaking work your butt to get to that. All right. Nobody freaking starts off like that. And that's why I don't even advertise like that, because I want people to really be serious about this thing and do what they need to do. Okay, I'm coming back and I'm seeing that some of you are saying that you cannot hear. The majority of you are saying that you can see and hear. So if you cannot hear, I suggest you go back out and come back in. Go back out and come back in, because from the majority, most of you can see and hear. Okay. So that is one of the reasons why I don't even advertise with a bunch of toys and all of that. Don't get it twisted. I love nice things. I love being able to get out and go do things. But the fact of the matter is, I want to see people win. I don't want to see people look tired, beat down from going to a job, and just spinning their wheels and just living to pay debt, living so that other people can enjoy the niceties in life. Right. And so my thing is, I want to attract people who really want to put forth the effort. And so when I initially started doing this thing, let me just be honest with you, very transparent. Okay. I'm going to give you a lot of information. One thing about my webinars, I give a lot of stuff, no fluff. You get a lot of people that give you a bunch of fluff and try to sell you a course. Now, I'm going to give you a lot of stuff, but I want to be honest with you. I am going to present you with an opportunity at the end of this webinar to join me in my mentorship, where I walk with you hand in hand as if in a holy matrimony to help you get your deals and achieve financial success or whatever it is that your why is. But The thing is, what I find that is stopping a lot of people, right, from getting involved is fear, debt, time, lack of knowledge, no partners, no money, no deals, no properties, excuses. Excuses, excuses, excuses. I have so many people that say, I don't have the money to do this thing, Sue. And my thing is, if you can finance a vacation on a credit card, you have the money to do real estate investing. If you can finance purses and shoes on a credit card, you have the money to do real estate investing, point blank in the period. If you're going out and spending $700 a month, you have the money to do real estate investing. If you are getting tax refunds, you have the money to do real estate investing. It's just how bad do you want it? And let me just be clear with you. All the information is out there, people. It's on YouTube, it's on Google, it's in freaking books, it's on Audible, it's every freaking where you turn. But the thing about it is, you got to tap in and you got to work your mind, and then you're behind, as Reverend Ike says all the time. And I love it. I love it. I love it when he says that. So there's really no excuse. It's just how bad do you want it? So the great thing about it, though, is even with all of that information out there, right, sometimes we still need a little hand holding. And so that's the great thing about having access to mentors. I'm hoping that in this webinar, we can at least try to minimize the things that could be halting you from doing what you need to do to establish the why of wanting to do real estate. All right. Let's go to the next one. Now, why real estate? Real estate is great for financial freedom, man. And it's in so many different reasons why, in my opinion. And all of this is from my opinion, right? But I guarantee you, if you go and you research people who have achieved financial freedom through real estate, most of their answers are going to be the same as mine, right? There's so many different ways to get into real estate, and we'll get into that. But why real estate? Real estate is great because it provides financial freedom through cash flow. Cash flow, I break it down in layman terms, is the money that you take to the house after all the bills are paid. That's the profits. I read a book to some fourth graders this week, and I was asking them. I said, "What is profits?" And this one young man said, "Money that you have left over." And I said, "Absolutely, 100% correct, baby. Absolutely." And so one of the great things about real estate is that it provides monthly cash flow. See, the difference in spending money on a credit card and going on a vacation is that you're not going to get any money back from that. But however, if you were to take money from a credit card and purchase real estate, you're going to get cash flow that you can take back and pay off that credit card. I love real estate because it's something real. I can go out and touch it and kiss it. Whereas with stocks, that's not real to me. It's paper. You know what I'm saying? Mutual funds, it's not real to me. And I'm not knocking any of those investment tools. I'm just telling you why I love real estate. Another reason I love real estate, it's proven and tested. It's been around for years. Think about it. What have people been fighting for in wars? Real estate. Real estate is land, buildings, and any mineral resources in that land or on that land that you own. So it could be water, it could be diamonds in that land that you own, it could be oil, it could be grocery stores, schools, hospitals, residential properties, industrial properties. It's been here forever. Land has been here forever. That's what men have been fighting for, is control of the land, because he who owns the land owns it all, baby. Think about it. Real estate typically beats inflation because it appreciates. Real estate is going to be a necessity until the end of time, because it's something that we all need. We need some place to live. And so for me, I'm like, oh my God, real estate is not a trend. It's something that's been here since the beginning of time, and it'll be here until the end of time. So that's why I love real estate. It's also easy to scale and grow. I can pass it down to my children. It also protects my money. So instead of me having money in a bank account, I can put it into real estate. I can insure that bad boy. That bad boy is going to appreciate way more than a freaking bank account. I don't know if many of you know this, but go check out your bank account when we get off this webinar tonight. Most of your checking accounts, I guarantee you, say 0% interest. You're not accruing anything when you have money in your checking account. Go check out your savings account. I guarantee you, many of you that have a savings account, you're not even getting 1% on that savings account. But yet you're so fearful of losing money that you let it sit in your savings account when in essence you really are losing money, because as we experience higher inflation, your money is not growing, but inflation is, so your money is worth less. However, if you were to sit that bad boy into some real estate, it would grow. Prime example before we go to the next slide, right? I bought some land in, I think it was 21, 1.2 acres. It was 2 lots. They were for $5,500 total. So what is that? $2,750 a piece, I believe it is. And I held on to the lots. We come back up on here, look at y'all. I held on to the lots for 2 years. The only thing I had to pay on those lots were the taxes, and each lot was $93 for taxes. That was it. So I paid what, $186 a year for taxes. I had it for 2 years. So you do 186 times 2, and that'll tell you how much I paid. I paid $5,500 for it. I just sold those lots. I think it was 4 weeks ago now, maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, for $20,000. I didn't have to cut the grass. I didn't have to do anything but pay the taxes, which was $186. I paid $5,500 total for both lots, which is $2,750 a piece. And I sold those lots for $10,000 a piece for a grand total of $20,000. Now, let me ask you something. Had I let that $5,500 sit in the freaking bank, do you think my money would have appreciated that much in 2 years? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So just want to throw that out there to you. Is that resonating with you guys? Comment and let me know. Is that resonating? Is that making sense to you? I'm talking a little fast because I'm excited and I'm not trying to keep you on this presentation too long. All right. Another reason why I love real estate is because, baby, you can write stuff off, okay? You can leverage it to buy other things. Good. Awesome. My Facebook user says, yes, it is. Yes, says Dee Dee. Awesome. Hey, Sydney from Sydney. Oh, hello, this is Sydney. You may not be from Sydney, but it's Sydney. Hey, Elizabeth says it does. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to have you guys talking to me tonight. I want you to write down stuff. I want you to screenshot stuff. I'm going to send you this recording because I want this thing to resonate with you. I want you guys to freaking get off the couch and get in the freaking game, okay? All right. Now, who am I? I told you my name earlier. I'm Solandia Hammond, right? Affectionately known as Sue Ham Baby. I'm a real estate investor, obviously. I'm also a writer. I do stage plays. I love them to death. I really, really do. But, funny thing happened. COVID struck, and it kind of essentially shut down entertainment. And entertainment hasn't really rebounded in the way that it should in local rural areas in the way that it needs to. And so I was just, laying on the couch one day, and I was like, God, I need something. I need to pivot. I need something that people are going to need no matter what. And I said, because I don't like this not being able to generate income or help people. So I want something that will be here to the end of time. And boom, real estate popped back into my head. I used to do real estate in 2006. So I'm also a mentor, a mother, a motivator, and a Marine veteran. That's who I am. So as I told you, I used to do real estate in 2006, right? I was riding high, man. I had acquired 16 income producing units in less than 2 years, right at 2 years or less than 2 years. I was rolling, y'all. I didn't know what I was doing. All I know is that I worked in USDA rural development, and I was watching how these investors were getting old houses, fixing them up, and then turning them around and selling them to my clients who I was helping to get their credit clean so that they could purchase these homes, and they were making a freaking killing. And I love the process because I'm a creative soul, so I love taking something from nothing, right? And love to bring it to fruition. So it really, really struck a nerve with me. I really was like, ooh, I like this. I like where this can go. 1, because I'm using my creativity. 2, because I'm providing housing for people. 3, because I get to make money. And 4, I get to employ other people and help them to make money in the process. So I jumped into it. At the time, there was no YouTube. Remember, 2006, no YouTube, no Facebook, no Instagram, no TikTok, nothing. I didn't even know anything about looking for books to help me with this topic. I knew nothing. All I knew is that these dang on contractors and investors were fixing up these houses and selling them to my clients who were coming in USDA rural development to get home loans, and they were making a freaking killing. Okay, that's all I knew. I knew I wanted to get in the game. And so what I did was I said, hey, you know what? I'm just going to do it. So I connected with a realtor, and this realtor started feeding me foreclosed properties, and I started buying properties left and right, left and right. I bought my first house for $8,500 in 2006. I put, I think, between $3,000 to $5,000 worth of repairs into that house, and I got it appraised, and I was able to get a check for like $55,000 off of that house. Now, listen, I can't even begin to tell you the joy I felt, especially me coming from a rural area where we didn't have a lot of money. We never even had a washing machine in our house. We washed clothes in the sink if we needed to wear something to school the next day, and then we put it in front of the oven and let the oven dry it. Or you see what I'm saying? Or put it in front of the fan and let the fan dry it. We didn't have central air and central AC when I was growing up, but then I'm not going to go there. So for me to be getting checks for $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, it was like, woo, this is bananas, bananas. But let me tell you what happened. I actually ended up filing bankruptcy. I had all of my vehicles taken. I had about 6, 7 vehicles in my yard, from Escalades, from BMWs to Mercedes, to the big excursions. So Lincolns, they were all taken. I had all of my properties foreclosed upon, gone, gone, gone. Right? I used to say I lost them, but I didn't lose them. I know exactly where they are. The bank came and got those properties because I was not making payments. Why? Because I didn't have this education that I'm feeding you guys right now. I did not have financial literacy, and I didn't have the education on what to do with real estate investing. So let me drop this nugget and tell you why I'm telling you this. I'm not trying to make this seem like it's easy, because I don't want to attract people who just want easy money. It is simple. It is simple, but it does require some work. And after you've gotten your first or second house under your belt, let me tell you something, baby. The thirst becomes unquenchable. I think that's a word. Getting more properties, you're just never satisfied. You want more properties because you want to help more people, and also you want to provide more wealth for yourself so you can enjoy it this lifetime, and also for your children. So yeah, I got started in 2006. Man, I had a good run for 3 years, and in 2009 I had to file bankruptcy because, again, I blew through my money. I didn't have the education to know what to do. I didn't know to put money away for a rainy day. I didn't know what I should do as far as hiring people, contractors. I didn't know what I should do as far as screening tenants. And I know in the back of your mind you're probably like, Sue, I don't want to get into this because I don't want to deal with tenants. Well, you don't have to deal with tenants if you don't want to deal with tenants, because you can actually lease your homes for people to buy them, right? You become the bank. Or number 3, you could sell the property, okay? But if you want tenants, and if you want to keep getting residual income, which is cash flow, money that you're bringing to the house after all the bills are paid, then what I'm going to share with you tonight is a way on how to deal with those tenants, because you can get great tenants. I have great tenants, okay? Let's keep it moving. I just wanted to share a little bit more about me. Does that make sense? Anybody got any questions right now? Let me pop in and see if you guys got any questions. Any questions? I feel like I'm talking so fast, man. I'm drinking a green tea right now. Okay. Any questions? All right. So what happened? In 2019, I was just like you guys. I was afraid because I just filed bankruptcy in 2009. Let me tell you something. Whoo, those 10 years were hellacious. I got tired of people telling me, no, 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 hell no, 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 no. It was a song. My credit was shot, everything. And I didn't know anything about creative financing. I didn't know that I didn't necessarily need a bank to go and get property. I didn't know those things, right? So for 10 years, I suffered. And I was for 10 years, I went through a valley experience. How about that? But I didn't choose to lay down and die. Instead, I chose to study. I chose to find out what I did wrong, and I owned up to my responsibility. Because at first I was saying, oh, it was a 2008 crash, and that's why everything just fell apart for me. No, that wasn't the case, Sue. You were financially illiterate, and you were wasting money. You were blowing that money, girl. You was having a good time. And so when I owned up my responsibility in filing, why I had to file bankruptcy, and I realized that I needed to be able to manage my money better, but not only manage my money better, to get education, I set out on a quest to change the trajectory of my life. And so I began studying. But I was still afraid, like many of you. And so instead of me going out and buying properties again, instead I invested with Cardone Capital and put money into that fund, right? Because I was still afraid to go out and get my own properties. And my sister was like, she's like, Sue, you need to just go back and get your own properties. But I was afraid. I was like, I don't know enough yet. I need to really, angle in on what I did wrong so I don't do it again. So in 2020, I was like, you know what? I think I can make my money work better for me, because I've studied, I know what I did wrong, and I'm ready to go. So in 2020, man, I started buying single family homes again. I started buying multi-unit, small multi-units, which small multi-units are 2 doors, which is a duplex, triplex, which is a three doors, and a quad, which are 4 doors. And I started buying land. And I told you guys how I bought the land for $5,500 and sold it for $20K. So let's see, we're on slide 8. We're moving pretty good, guys. So here's what you need to do. Decide how you want to get into this real estate game. There are so many different ways to get into real estate investing. You can become a wholesaler. You can become a realtor, where you actually help people find, buy, and sell their homes. You can become an attorney, close the loans. You can become a home inspector, where you inspect the homes. You can become a Terminex person, where you do the CL 100s, where you're checking for rotten woods, termites, broken piers. What are the ways? What are the things that you can become a property manager? All kinds of different ways that you can get into real estate, right? But for me, I'm a real estate investor who invests in single family homes, duplexes, triplexes, and quads. Now, as you can see, there are other different things that you can invest in. However, when you start getting into warehouses, large apartments, storage, and office space, that's considered commercial real estate. If you keep it to single family housing, duplexes, triplexes, and quads, that's a residential loan, and it's you can qualify based on that asset. Okay, a lot of times you can get. This is what some people do. I would not do it again. You can get up to 10 mortgages in your personal name. So if husband and wife, if a wife can qualify for the mortgages by herself, she can get 10 mortgages on her credit report, and that husband could get 10 on his credit report if it's in his name only. So now y'all got 20 properties together. With 20 properties, you ain't got to do nothing else. You can retire. You can retire before 20 properties. It's just whatever your retirement number is. If you need to make $3,000 a month and never have to work in anybody's job, or that's enough money, then you need to find out how many properties it's going to take you to make that. So for me, every property that I get, every door, right? A property has a door. That door has to make at least $400 for me. So if I need $2,000 to retire every month, then that means I need, how much is that? 400 into 2,000. What is that? 5 doors? I need 5 doors. So that means I either need 5 single family homes, or I need 2 duplexes and 1 single family home, or I need 1 quad and 1 single family home. Either way it goes, however it shakes down, I need 5 doors that's bringing in $400 cash flow. Remember, cash flow is the money that you take to the house, money that you have left over after you've paid expenses to live, right? So you have to determine what is your freedom number. And then you have to analyze the deals and see how much money you can bring from that deal after everything is paid for. All right. So moving on, I'm hoping that makes sense to you guys. Here's some things you need to consider. The location. Is it a good location? Go and drive it at night, man. Because it can look good in the daytime. Everything can be kosher in the daytime. And then nighttime is the right time. And all kinds of things start happening. Let me take my face off so you guys can see this big time. Okay, there we go. Should be big on your screen. All right. So you want to make sure it's a good location. Here's my thing. I live in a rural area. I've said that before. You have a lot of people that will teach you and say, do not buy in the hood, or do not buy in a rural area. Do not buy in the inner city. Okay, let me say this. Everybody needs a place to stay. Everybody needs a place to stay. So just because I'm not going to go buy in the inner city, I'm not going to tell somebody else not to buy in the inner city, because everybody needs a place to stay. And obviously, if there is demand, then I believe that you should be the supplier. So for me, I'm in a rural area. A lot of people will not invest in rural areas because they're saying the appreciation is slow. The house value doesn't grow as much. For me, I don't really care. I am in an area where about half of the people that live here are renters, and we are still in a shortage. So I know that there is a high demand here, and I'm going to be the supplier. I'm going to supply dopamine, and that dopamine is providing quality, good, clean housing with a great, awesome landlord who does not ignore her responsibilities. That's the dopamine. That's the dope that I'm dealing out here in my area. So there are some people who have gotten wealthy off of housing people in the hood, where it's shots ringing out every night. Then you got people who only want to invest in A-class neighborhoods. A-class neighborhoods are typically neighborhoods that have the best schools, brand new homes, no older than 2-3 years old, and that's where they want to invest. So you pick your poison. For me, I'm investing in my backyard where I live and in neighboring counties because I'm very familiar with it. It's easier for me because I'm familiar with the area. It's also easy because it's easier for me to get contractors. And number three, it's just good for me. Good for me because I love helping out my community. Does that make sense? Chime in real quick, guys, and let me know. I feel like I'm talking a mile a minute. Am I going too fast? Please let me know. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all for being here with me on a Sunday night. I really, really do. For me, I'm not going to buy property unless it cash flows. I know that a lot of people buy property and say, I don't have to make money as long as it's appreciated, and I can wait 5 years before I make money on the property. The house is growing in value. I'm not there yet. Maybe when I have 1,000 doors in my portfolio, I will feel that way. But as for me right now, I am not buying a property that I'm not going to make money on. Okay. Point blank and the period. Because that property has to generate money for me. It's important that you know what your expenses are. Know that you can meet the expenses. Do not, guys, stereotype Section 8 tenants. I've had Section 8 tenants. They've been great tenants. You will screen your Section 8 tenants the same way you screen any other tenant. I've always said this, and I'm an advocate for anyone who gets help from the government. Just because someone gets help from the government or they have a Section 8 voucher does not mean that they are slum tenants. The same way someone who has an 800 credit score making 6 figures does not mean that they are a great tenant. It is all about that individual. And remember, some people have Section 8 vouchers or vouchers from the government because they are disabled or because they don't make enough money. Some people do go to work and still get assistance from the government, okay? Some people have Social Security and they get assistance. Some people are battered women, battered men, and they get assistance. Some people are just fresh out of rehab. You have some people that's out of prison and they need places to live. And there are agencies that supplement the rent. So there's so many different ways to make money if you plan to rent out your property. So don't just allow the masses to make you think that everybody who has a Section 8 voucher is nasty, because at the end of the day, if you screen all your tenants the same way, you should be able to get a great tenant. All right. Now, you also got to think about this when you're buying your property. What are your exit plans? Exit plans meaning, do I want to buy and hold? Buy and hold is a terminology used in the real estate world, meaning that you are going to buy the property. If it needs to be fixed, you'll fix it up and you'll put a tenant in it and you're going to hold it, meaning you're going to keep it. Or are you going to fix and flip? That means you're going to buy the property. If it needs repairs, you'll fix it and you'll sell it. Fix and flip means fix the property and sell it. Now, me, I love fixing properties. I love fixing properties. That's my thing. I know that might not be everybody's jazz, but that is my jazz because I love to transform the neighborhoods and transform people. However, I have bought a property that I didn't have to do anything to it. All I had to do was take over the payments on the property and sign my name on the deed. Take over the payments and sign my name on the deed. Didn't have to put any money up front. So for those of you who are saying, I don't have the money, sometimes it doesn't take money. All right. It just takes guts. And with that, it was a turnkey property. So all they had to do was put a tenant in that property. So every property doesn't have to be an old property. I just love buying old properties and adding value because typically that's where I get the majority of my money from. All right. So that's what I mean by an exit plan when you buy these properties. Will you manage the property or will you hire a property manager? Something to think about. How do we find these deals, Sue? Well, there's different ways, man, that you can find deals. We live in the age of the internet, guys. I'm so thankful for it. Man, you can contact a realtor. I always use my realtor who is in charge of South Carolina, Maggie Cooper. She is amazing. I've used Zillow. I've looked on hubzoo.com. I actually bid it on a property on auction.com. I didn't win it, but you can actually bid on properties on auction.com, hubzoo.com. Mind you, these are free websites that I'm giving you. Zillow.com. You can go and find properties. There's Facebook market groups. You can go into groups and there are people selling properties all the freaking time. And some of these properties are not on the MLS, meaning they're off market, meaning that you will get them for substantially lower than what you would get them for if you use a realtor or if you go through the MLS to purchase the property. Did I make myself clear? Do I make myself clear? You can get in your car like I did today, teaching my son how to drive. And as he was driving, I know I should have been paying attention to him, but I'm looking for properties. I'm looking for abandoned properties that I can, jot down the address and then go back to the GIS program and pull up people, or either go to PropStream and put in the address and pull up people and see who owns the property so I can contact them, because the property looks abandoned. It looks dilapidated. It looks like it needs care. And so perhaps maybe they'll be willing to sell it to me at a lesser price because we're not going through a realtor. It's not on the market. And who knows? But that's what driving in neighborhoods means, driving for dollars. You can go to HUD.gov. You can even go to DOT. Matter of fact, Dee Joe, who's on this webinar right now, she's the one who hipped me to DOT. She told me about a house that was down 521, and all DOT wanted you to do was move the house. You can own it free and clear. And I think the house was, oh gosh, I think it was for $8,000, and it came with 2 storage sheds in the back. Man, I got on the phone so quickly and called DOT. And the house was in good condition. I called DOT. Well, I took to Facebook and I said, who moves houses? I need to know who's moving a house, because I didn't really care if the movers were going to charge me 30 grand, because at the end of the day, I was getting a house for 8 grand and 2 storage sheds to go with it that was in freaking decent condition. And that's all I cared about. But I got on the phone and I emailed and I started contacting DOT, and they said, hey, someone else has already gotten the property. But I just want to let you know that DOT is a way. HUD, you can find properties, expired listings. Contact a realtor, find out, hey, what listings were on the MLS but they didn't sell, or the owner took them off. I would love to contact that owner. I would love to see if I can negotiate a deal with them. Word of mouth, referrals. Guys, tell people what you do. I think that people miss out a lot of times because they want to be so hush hush. Hush hush. I don't want nobody in my business. I don't want them to know nothing. But if you don't tell people what you do, how will they know what you do, and how can they help you do what you do? If you don't tell people what you do, how will they know what you do, and how can they help you do what you do? So I'm constantly showing people what I do, and I'm constantly asking for leads, and I'm asking for referrals of people who want to sell their homes. Wholesalers. Wholesalers are the middle persons, right? They are the middle persons who find properties that are typically off market, and they find a buyer. So they connect the seller and they connect the buyer. Wholesalers in the middle. Wholesaler charges a fee. Wholesalers are a great resource to contact to see if they have any properties that they want to sell. How do I find a wholesaler, Sue? Facebook. Ask other people. Go to meetup groups, real estate meetup groups in your area. Hey, I know there's a sign. You've seen that sign. It's sticking up on the light pole. You've seen it sticking in the ground. It says, we buy mobile homes. We buy houses. You've seen that sign. Call that number. Call that number and say, hey, I'm an investor. I would like for you to send me properties because I am interested in the area that you have your sign, and I would like to see what properties you have. Does that make sense, guys? I need you to start to train your mind to see opportunities. I need you to start to train your eyes to see opportunities, your mind and your eyes. And when you do that, the world is going to open up for you in such a way that you're going to be like, oh my goodness. I used to drive this road every day and I never noticed that house over there was vacant. Oh my goodness. I never saw that piece of land over there that looks like no one's taking care of it. I wonder if the tax office owns it, the county or the town owns it. Maybe I can get it from them for $100, for $1,000. Maybe that abandoned house is owned by the county or the town. Maybe I can get it from them for $3,000, $500. Start to do these things and you'll start to see the opportunities open up for you. Okay, so that's how you can find deals, guys. There's so many other different ways that you can find real estate deals. It's not even about finding a deal, because there's a way to do it. It's just whether you're gonna do it. It's not can you do it, it's will you do it. All right. So we teach other different ways in my course, which I'll tell you about it at the end of this webinar, but we're gonna keep on going. One of the biggest things you got to do is analyze your deals. You got to make sure this thing makes sense. We do not buy on emotion, baby. We buy on mathematics. We do not buy on emotion. We buy on mathematics. Mathematics. All right. Arithmetic. We make sure the numbers make sense. And so in doing so, we have to take into consideration our expenses. If we're going to hire a management company, how much will we pay them? If we are going to maintain the yard, how much will that cost us? Are we maintaining the water bill on the property? We have to put money aside for CapEx. CapEx is capital expenditures, which are big time expenditures that typically occur over 5, 10, 15-year period in a house. For example, a roof. If you bought a house with a roof and you had it inspected and they said, hey, you only got 5 years worth of roof left on this house, then you need to be putting money aside for that. If maybe they say, hey, this is a brand new roof. Okay, wow, cool. You can still put money aside for that because probably in 20, 30 years, you're still going to need a new roof. So instead of you having to worry about that, why not put away $100 a month for that roof? Stack it away. It's called reserves, right? Also put away money for vacancy, because who knows, if you have a single family house, if that house becomes vacant, boom, you're not getting any cash flow. So do you want to come out of your pocket to cover that? Absolutely not. So the times that you have tenants in there, what you should be doing is putting money away every month to cover a vacancy if and when it happens. Does that make sense, guys? Awesome sauce. We're going to keep it moving. And I could get into so much detail in this webinar, but again, this is a webinar just getting your feet wet, getting you hopefully encouraged to go do the research on your own or join me in my mentorship. I'm not going to sit here and go for hours and hours and hours and just break this thing down. But I think that the information that I do give you, I know I far exceed a lot of the people that are out here doing webinars because I've been on them. And I do have a mentor. Anytime you're studying with somebody, you should make sure that they have a mentor. Okay. Credit and financing. What type of credit do you have? What type of financing do you have? Let me go ahead and dispel the myth. People think you got to have a 700, 800 credit score to get FHA financing. Also, let me go ahead and let you know, FHA does not mean first-time home buyer assistance, right? Let's say that again together. Let's say it together. FHA does not mean first-time home buyers assistance. It does not mean that, guys, at all. It's a federal program that was put into place to help those borrowers who were redlined, meaning that they were excluded from being able to get fair housing and fair financing. And so the program was put into place to help buyers to be able to obtain housing. Because here's the thing, majority of people who have wealth have ownership in homes, okay? In real estate, I should say, have ownership in real estate. So FHA loans allow you to put down 3.5%. You can go with an FHA loan, you can have a credit score and you can check it with Rocket Mortgage. It was, I think, as low as a 500 credit score. But now let me say this to you. If you have a 500 credit score, they may require a little bit more of you. They may require you to have, if your mortgage is $500 a month, they may require you to have $1,500 in the bank, right? Something of that nature. They might want to see your bank account and know that you have enough money in there to make at least 3 bank payments. But what am I saying to you? All I'm saying to you is you don't need 700, 800 credit scores, right, to get started into real estate investing. VA loans, I'm a veteran, 100% financing, no money down. Also, guys, there are down payment assistance programs. If you have a great realtor or a great lender, they should be able to tell you about these programs that will assist you into getting into these houses. Why am I saying this? Because let me just tell you, we'll get into the house hacking portion of this in a few slides, but you can actually use an FHA or a VA loan to buy a single family house, a duplex, a triplex, or a quad and live in it and rent it out. Do you understand what I'm telling you? It's a residential loan. So you can actually house hack where you live in one and rent out the other rooms. So if you have a single family, this is how you can house hack. You live in one room and you rent out the other rooms, much like how dormitories do when kids go to college. If it's just you, why do you need 3,000 square feet of home by yourself? Why do you need 1,800 square feet, 1,500 square feet? Remember, you're building generational wealth. You have to go back to your why. So you may have to sacrifice those toys and sacrifice all the privacy at first, right? You only got to do it for a year. So you could buy a house that's 1,800 square feet with 5 bedrooms or 4 bedrooms. You could live in 1 bedroom, and guess what? You could rent out the other 4 bedrooms and make money, which means that you're living for free because you have 4 other people living in that house with you. And you're living for free. They're paying down your mortgage. You're getting a tax break. They're taking care of your utilities because you're making more than enough money, and you're going to have cash flow. What is cash flow? Cash flow is the money that you have left over that you take to the house after the bills are paid, right? So you might say, I don't want to do that, Sue. Well, buy a duplex. You live in one side of the duplex and you rent out the other side. Same difference. You're still getting money. Well, buy a triplex. You live in one side and rent out the other 2. Buy a quad. You live in one side and rent out the other 3. At the end of the day, you can use an FHA loan, which requires 3.5% down. Okay. Or a VA loan, 0% down. Okay. And you can buy these types of properties and actually get in the game and become an investor just that easily, just that fast, just that quick. All right. There are also hard money lenders. There are hard money lenders that will loan 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months to give you the money to buy a house and fix it, right? The only difference is you can't live in it. You cannot live in it, okay? It has to be a business loan. It has to be investor, meaning somebody else lives in it, okay? All right. They also have hard money lenders that will convert those short-term loans into a 20-year loan or a 30-year loan. There's private investors. Private investors are people like your doctors, your lawyers, or someone that you know with a lot of money. Maybe somebody just won the lottery. Somebody just inherited a bunch of money. People who have a bunch of money and don't know what to do with it. Those are your private investors. You can strike up a contract with them or give them some type of equity in the home, or let them be your lender and you pay them back. If you have a 401k, borrow the money from your 401k. Okay. Borrow the money from family and friends. If you have a primary residence, and I say this, if you're willing to take the risk, okay? Only if you're willing to take the risk. If you have a primary residence and it is worth $300,000 and it's worth $300,000 and you owe nothing on it, then that means you have $300,000 sitting in your walls of your home. That's called equity. You owe nothing on it and it's just freaking sitting there. Why not do a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, or refi the home and take the cash out? Either way, that's your freaking bank right there. Now, don't do that and buy dumb stuff like a Cadillac Escalade, because the Cadillac Escalade is a liability. That's not generating you money unless you're running a rental business with your car. But if you were to take a HELOC or refinance your home and do a cash out and take that money and put it into real estate, into income producing assets, that's a win-win, baby. That's a win-win. Contractors. There are some contractors that you might be able to find that will partner with you, whereas in you and the contractor could buy the home and do the work in the home. And then when you sell the home, you pay the contractor off. Come on, somebody, because if you've got the knowledge on how to do this, you are generating money for the contractor in 2 ways. You're generating money by paying him or her for doing the work. And the second way is from selling the house and the profit that you make and splitting it with that person. As a contractor, if I was a contractor, I would definitely do that deal. Okay. Seller financing. The seller becomes the bank. They're not checking credit. They're not checking bank statements. They're not checking tax returns, none of that. You contact the seller and say, hey, I would love for you to be the bank. I pay my mortgage to you. We'll go to an attorney. We do a title search, make sure you don't owe any money on this thing. And we'll draft up a mortgage, or we'll draft up a deed, and boom. Now I just got property and I didn't have to go through a bank or seller to subject to financing, which is what I told you guys earlier, how I got a piece of property, and all I did was take over the payments. Nobody wanted to see my credit. Nobody wanted to see my bank statements, none of that. I just took over the payments. I started sending the payments to the mortgage company, and we recorded my name on the deed. Simple as that. Then there's credit cards. Again, if you financing vacations on your credit card, why not finance a down payment and buy some real estate that's going to make money? That's all I'm saying. You think about that, okay? Because if you're going to use a credit card, why not use that credit card to get it to make you some money and then pay that bad boy off? Just something to think about. I know y'all get tired of hearing me ask this, but I got to ask, does that make sense? Chime in. Let me know what you think. Let me know what y'all thinking. I got to turn this heater off. I'm a little chilly. Chime in. Let me know what y'all thinking. What are y'all thinking about this? Questions. Eric Waters says facts. Yes, facts. Lacey said, I'm always quiet. I need to stop. Yes, you do, Lacey. You got to tell people what you do. How will they know what you do? How can they help you do what you do if they don't know? How about that section in the newspaper that has properties with delinquent taxes? I've heard the owner still has a period of time to reclaim the property if someone does pay taxes on it. Great, Elizabeth. Yes, I went to a tax sale a couple years ago. It was my first time ever doing it. And I bought some land. It was 1.5 acres for $1,500 or $1,600. And the owner had up to 1 year to claim that piece of land back. But in the meantime, I got to make interest on that. So my money, $1,600, I made, I think like 96, I think I paid 15 or 1,600 for it. Anyhow, the owner did come back and reclaim the land in 4 months, but I made $96. Now, had that $1,600 stayed in the bank, would I have made $96? Probably not. No, because I don't get even 1% on my savings account. So I wouldn't even made that $96. So for me, the thing about that with the tax sales is, are you willing to have your money tied up for possibly a year? Because sometimes they don't come back and reclaim the property, then it becomes yours. So it's just your money is tied up. And for me, I don't have a problem with that, because I know that my money is in most cases is going to make more tied up with the county than it would sitting in a bank account. Now, the bank did come back, not the bank, the owner did come back after 4 months and redeem his property. However, he had to pay an extra $96. I got my $1,600 back plus $96. But yes, tax sales are a great way to do that. And you can also contact your county and your town offices. They have a listing of properties that did not sell at the tax sale. So essentially, the county owns them. You can contact them and negotiate payments. Now, I do recommend you do title searches on these properties, right? Because you don't want to buy something from the county or the town or whomever, and it's like $400, and you're like, yeah, I got some land and it's only $400, and then you start building a house on it. And then come to find out the land has a tax lien against it, or some type of mortgage lien or something against it. The title is not clear. And so, and you got to stop what you're doing, because now you got to pay that thingy. So definitely I would be doing title searches before I buy anything like that, making sure everything is all clear. Hope that makes sense. HELOC is an interesting option. Yes, let me tell you why HELOC is good. Okay, because when COVID came, right, we saw some great interest rates, right? We saw like 1.99%, 2%, 2.75%. Matter of fact, I got myself a duplex at 2.75% with FHA loan. Okay, come on, somebody, with 3.5% down. All right, so quit playing. What I'm teaching, I don't teach in theory. I teach from application. I do this. I'm out there and I'm doing it, and that's one of the things about me. You can see it on my YouTube channel, my Facebook channel, my Instagram channel. I'm showing my properties. I'm showing me at the closings. I'm doing this because I would never take advantage of anybody, and I would never want anybody to take advantage of me. Now, here's one of the reasons why you would want a HELOC. So let's check this out. On my duplex, right, in 2020, I had a 2.75% interest rate, right? So I wouldn't necessarily want to refinance, cash out, and take the money out if my interest rate is going to go up to a 7%. I don't want to leave a 2.5% interest rate and go to a 7%. So why not take out a home equity line of credit, which is called a HELOC for short? I get to keep my 2.75% interest rate, and whatever equity I have in my property, that's the part that I would get the HELOC on. So if I have $50,000 available to me in equity, then I can get a home equity line of credit on that part. And a HELOC works just like a credit card, my friends. You only pay on what you use. And when you pay it and you have more access, you can use it again over and over and over and over again. So I would never mess up my 2.75% interest rate. Instead, I would get a HELOC on that equity. Does that make sense? Feet are still cold. Fanny, you better go get by a heater and let's get in the game, girl. Come on here now. All right. Can you apply for hard money for the tax sale? I don't know if many hard money lenders will allow you to do that. Now, you might be able to apply for a bridge loan. Most of the hard money lenders I know won't do that, but here's what I will tell you. My mentor said he went through 139 banks before he got a yes. So here's what I'm telling you. That's why I said I don't want to attract people who just attracted by the shiny balls, the shiny syndrome, because you're not going to want to do the work. You got to call lenders and ask what their criteria is. I don't be letting people just run my social security number. I'm asking, what's your criteria? What's your LTV, your loan to value? What's your loan terms? What's the interest rate? Do you have a buy down option? Is there a prepayment penalty? Is there a seasoning period requirement? Meaning, if when I buy the property, do I have to wait a certain time before I can refinance the property and pull the cash out? So you want to interview these lenders before you just give them your information. Okay, ask them, what do you require? Because the hard money lenders I'm using, they're loaning me money based off the asset, which is the property. They don't care anything about my tax returns. They don't care anything about my bank statements. They really don't care much about me. All they really care about is the property, and that the fact that the property, the tenant that's in there, can pay them back, or if I'm going to sell it, can I sell it in a reasonable amount of time? What kind of credit score is needed for a HELOC? That all depends on the banks or the credit unions. So you'll definitely have to do your research there. Okay. Can city, county owned properties only be purchased at annual tax sales? No. Again, city and towns have a listing of homes or land or property or real estates that did not sell. Go to them and say, hey, I would like to get a copy of the property that did not sell. You can purchase it at any time of the year. All right, hopefully that made sense. We're gonna keep it moving. Ooh, I got dang on 8 minutes, and I'm on. Oh God, I'm just on slide 12. I told y'all an hour. All right. So the benefits of multifamily, which I told you guys in the beginning, multifamily units are 2 units, which are duplexes, 3 units, which are triplexes, 4 units, which are quads. The benefits is that it's all in one location, right? Let me see here. Just one second. I want to make this big again for you guys. There we go. The benefits is that it's all in one location. If one person moves out of a duplex, you still got somebody renting the other side. If somebody moves out of a triplex, you still got 2 available. Somebody moves out of a quad, you still got 3 available. However, if you got a single family home, a house, if somebody moves out, there's nobody there, not unless you're renting the rooms. Okay. Do your due diligence. When you're buying these properties, if they already have tenants in them, ask to verify the rent rolls. You want to see that they have been making payments. All right. Inspect the property. Get a housing inspector to inspect the properties. Most of them go for $400. It's worth it, guys. It's totally worth it. And then also, if the housing inspector finds something wrong with these properties, there's your room to negotiate and go back to the seller and say, hey, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Can we negotiate the price? Or are you willing to fix it? If they have tenants in the property, try to ask them tenants, man, what kind of problems y'all got? You got any leaks? You got any roaches? Is the floor falling in? Ask the tenants, how's the neighborhood? Try to get the information out of them, right? Get them to snitch. Find out when the last updates have been done to these big ticket items like the flooring, the roof, the HVAC, the plumbing. Find out all of that. I do recommend that you get an insurance quote so you can know exactly how much you'll be paying on insurance. Also, so with the rent rolls, how do you know that it's not being fabricated? That's a good question. And that's one of the things too, is try to ask the tenants what they pay, because you don't know with these owners. And some of these old owners, or what do you call them, mom and pop landlords, they don't use up-to-date software to record rents. They actually take rent in cash, so they're not recording it. So some places you don't have any proof that it's being done. So this is where you will want to analyze your numbers and say, hey, what is the market rent? What can I get for rent in this? Look at the lease and see if they're actually getting this money in the lease, right? Can I bump these lease up? So you have to analyze that property to see if I can add value, if I can increase the rents, and will this deal work for me? Remember, we're not doing it off emotion. We're doing it off arithmetic, mathematics. But a rent roll is just going to be most times an Excel documentation or something that they print out from a software that they're using to collect rents and show you when they collect the rents, if it was late and on time. But you're right, it can be fabricated. So do your due diligence. Find out what the taxes are going to be. Like I told you guys before, scout the neighborhood. I'm always looking for positive cash flow, and I got to like the property. I got to see myself living there. So what is your game plan? Will you house hack, which is what we talked about before? House hack is you living in one room if it's a single family and renting out the other rooms. If it's a duplex, you living in one side, renting out the other side. Triplex or quad, same difference. Is that what you want to do by getting into real estate? I have to tell you, that's probably one of the easiest ways to get into real estate is by house hacking, especially if you need somewhere to lay your head. If you can get into real estate by house hacking, it's a really great way to do it. You can rent out the rooms in a single family. You live in one duplex, live in one side, rent out the other side. And again, you can use FHA loans, VA loans for single family, quads, triplexes, and duplexes. Those are considered residential loans, and you could actually do that. Now, those will appear on your credit because it's a residential loan. Remember what I told you, the commercial business loan, when you start talking about hard money, that's going to be a business loan, which will not appear on your credit. But unfortunately, the majority of the hard money lenders I know will not finance a loan with you living in it. It has to be NOO. That means non-owner occupant. Non-owner occupant, which is simply means you can't live there. All right, so you need to know what your rent should be. How do I determine my rent, Sue? There's a thing called Zillow.com. You can plug in an address. It'll tell you what rents should be. You can go to rentometer.com, rentometer.com. It'll tell you what rents should be. You can consult a realtor. You can ask them what rents are. You can consult property managers. You can ask them what rents are going for. Or will you buy and hold or flip? A couple of my properties I have sold. I'm in the process right now, and I'll show you the property a little bit later in the slide that I knew I was going to sell this property. It's a 5-bedroom, 2.5 bath property, and I knew I was going to sell it because 2,200 square feet. I knew that the big chunk of money I can make going out of it. And number two, I didn't want to rent a house that big to someone in this market because I didn't think that I would get the rent that I know it deserves. You're definitely going to need a team. You're going to need a team, all right? You're going to need real estate agents. That's, most of the people say, oh, you can't find properties on Zillow. Real estate agents can't help you. The majority of my properties, that's how I found them. I've also found properties because people have brought them to me because they know what I do. But so in my opinion, just because somebody else say they're not successful with looking at Zillow.com, Redfin, or Trulia, or realtor.com, that's them. Remember what I told you in the beginning. There's so many different ways to do this thing, right? You got to find out which one works for you. I'm not going to knock what anybody does. I use real estate agents from time to time, and I also go out and I look for properties on my own. I've negotiated deals on my own. You're going to need money, whether it's your money or somebody else's money. So when you hear people saying you don't need your money or you don't need money to invest in real estate, you might not need your money, but you're going to need somebody's money, whether it's a hard money lender's money, whether it's a private investor's money, whether it's friends and family's money, somebody money, whether it's your sugar daddy money, somebody money you're going to need to invest in real estate unless you are doing like a subject to where you don't have to put any money up front. You're just taking over the payments. But at the end of the day, when you go to have the deed put into your name, you're still going to need money to do the deed transfer, which typically in my state of South Carolina is $250. You're going to need lawyers, right? Title companies. When you do these closings, contractors, that's the biggest thing. Sue, where do I get contractors? I don't know. How do I trust them? Oh my God. My mentees, they're always asking about where they get contractors. And I'm like, guys, for real though, you want to know how I find contractors? I freaking go to thumbtack.com. I go to Home Depot. They have go to their pro desk and ask them who their contractors are, or just walk around the store and look at people with their paraphernalia, their names, their marketing on the back of their shirts, on their trucks. I drive around and I see people fixing houses, and I'll stop, because now I have an opportunity to see the work they're actually doing and ask for a card. So those are ways that I am finding contractors. I am also reaching out to other investors and asking, who did you use? Who do you like? I'm also going on Facebook and asking, can someone give me a quote on this? Would someone be interested in this job? There are many different ways to find contractors. Now, will you get some nasty slack ones that slip through the crack? Yes, I've had to fire contractors. Okay, it is what it is. It is what it is. You keep it moving, right? You keep it. It's no different than going to a job and getting fired. You keep it moving. So many different ways to find contractors. Put a call out for them on social media. Home Depot, Lowe's, early in the morning. Go to these other specialty stores that they're going to be at, like the electrical stores where they're getting supplies. That's where you're going to find an electrician, right? Purchasing supplies. You're driving around and you see people fixing housing. Those are contractors. There they are. So it's so many different ways. You just got to open up your eyes and your mind to be able to find them. I feel like I'm kicking a dead horse, so we'll keep it moving. Insurance agents and property management. If you want a property manager, you may want to manage it yourself, because we're in a day and age where everything is online. We have apps for that. There's an app for that. There's an app for that. There are apps for managing your properties. But if you want hands off, you can have a hire property manager. They typically charge anywhere between 6 to 10%, up 6 to 15% of the monthly rent. Typically, it's 10% of the monthly rent. That's where it normally falls in the average, okay? But if you don't want to deal with that, hire somebody to do it for you. Okay, we're almost done here. Moving. And so we already talked about that, property management. Here are some of the software programs. You can go to avail.co. There's Cozy, there's Hemlane. I think there's Buildium. Listen, you could just go to Google, my people. I tell people this all the time, man. You got to search. You got to stop being lazy. If you want this thing, right, you'll find food. If you're hungry, you'll find food. If you're thirsty, you'll go look for water. So you can go to google.com and put in software for taking rent, software for managing rental applications, and pulling credit and doing credit checks and doing background checks. Zillow will allow you to do that. Zillow will also allow you to take in rental payments. Zillow will also do a lease for you. All of these programs will do that. And it's very, very, very simple. It will also allow you to present a form to your accountant at the end of the year on all the monies that you took in. How do we qualify tenants? Now, I've seen so many people complain and saying, man, ain't no way in the world I make 3 times the rent. Okay. Most people want you to make 3 times the rent, right? So if the rent is $1,000 a month, they want your income to be $3,000 a month. Why is that? Because if you only make $1,500 a month and you are applying for a place to stay $1,000 a month, how are you really going to afford that, right? We don't want to be evicting people. We don't want to be turning over properties, right? Turning over properties means getting somebody in and then they're leaving and you got to clean it and you get it ready for the next person. We don't want to have to deal with that. So typically, most people look for 3 times the rent. Now, you got to look at your neighborhood. If you're getting Section 8 vouchers, or you're getting any other vouchers from VA vouchers or vouchers from Social Security or DSS, whomever, right? Then 3 times the rent is really a non-factor. It's a non-factor. So you're just looking for someone who can pay your rent. So keep that in mind. Now, like I told you, Zillow.com, all of these other softwares, they will do an eviction check, credit check, and background check. Let me tell you the reason why I like to use Zillow.com. A lot of people get rich off of taking in applications for people for places to rent, because they charging them like $100 per application or $150 per application. Now, don't get it twisted. It costs us to do an eviction, credit, and background check, right? But some people are charging you like $200 per application fee when it's not costing that much for these things. So they're getting rich. I understand it's their time. But for me, because I like to look out for people, I typically list my properties on Zillow.com, and Zillow will allow people to apply, right? And all the people on Zillow have to do is just pay $29 a year, and they can apply to as many properties as they want. So that means if they see my property, they see 2 other properties, they can apply to all 3 of those properties, and it's only a one-time $29 fee for the whole year. So that's where I typically list mine. I'll get the credit check, I get the eviction check, and I get the background check. So you also got to decide if you want pets in your property. If you do, charge money for it. Charge a fee, charge money. Does that make sense, guys? You also want to call old landlords to verify these tenants. Not just the last landlord, but the landlord before that one. Because the last landlord may say, yeah, they were the bomb because they just want them out of their house. So call the landlord before that. Now, I have some people that have told me, investors that have said that they've gone to people's houses because they want to see how they live. I'm not doing that. I'm just not going to do that. But what I am going to do is make sure that my lease is tight and let them know that I'm coming to inspect the property. Me or my property manager is coming to inspect the property at a minimum 2 times a year. And we're doing that for their safety and my safety. We're doing that because sometimes tenants don't report when things go wrong in the house. And in my lease, I put in there, it's stipulated you have to report anything that's going wrong with this house, because if you don't, it could lead to a bigger problem. If you know there's a leak around the toilet and you just sit there because you're afraid I'm going to raise the rent because you think I'm a slum landlord, and you don't tell me, and 8 months goes by and the floor caves in, now it's an even bigger problem because you didn't tell me that there was a leak. So it's one of those things where I'm telling them if they got problems, they better tell me, because if it turns into a bigger problem, it is going to be a bigger problem for them. I want to tackle on the small problems. I'm not a slum landlord. So that's very important. So you going in twice a year or having your property manager go in and inspect these properties twice a year ensures the safety of the tenants and ensures the safety of your business being your asset, being your real estate. All right. Okay, next slide. I've already told you why Section 8 tenants. I've already told you how you can verify them. Another thing about Section 8 tenants is that HUD is going to raise the rent every year because it's based on fair market value. For me, I think in Florence County, a 3-bedroom from Section 8, I think the fair market rent that they're paying is $1,100. Why would I do Section 8? Well, one, I'm helping a family. 2, Section 8 pays every month. Section 8 is never late. I don't have to hear any excuses about little Johnny about to go to prom and I got to buy a tuxedo for him. I don't have to hear any of that. Section 8 is going to send my money straight into my direct deposit account. So screen your Section 8 tenants just like you would screen anybody else. Do the background check, do the credit check, even though credit's probably not going to be that important because Section 8 is going to be paying it. But if you want to look at it and you want to make it a serious criteria, then look at it. And then look at evictions. Evictions are important for me. If you have an eviction, I don't really want you in my property because I don't know if you've changed your ways. Now, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm still meeting with people. I have one person that I did lease a property to. They had an eviction and they explained themselves. And I just was really kind of like going on my gut. And I wanted to give them a second chance because I'm that type person. And it turns out it worked out okay. So you have to decide what you want to do. But for the most part, if you got recent evictions, I'm not trying to go there. All right. How do you find the deals? I found this deal on Zillow. This was a seller finance deal. Remember, I was telling you guys about that. We're almost finished, guys. This was a seller finance deal. I found it on Zillow. The guy had it listed for $29,000. And I said, hey, I'll give you $25,000 cash. And he was like, oh, I don't know. And then I said, hey, let me ask you this. Are you interested in seller financing it? He said, yeah. He said, I got other people looking at it. You know, they're willing to put down $4,000. I said, I'll put down $7,000 if you'll let me seller finance it. So I did that. No credit check. Didn't show up on my personal credit. We went to an attorney. I think my closing fees were like $700. I had a mortgage done. My name's on the deed. I was paying him $385. Right. I went ahead and I rehabbed this property. I put about $32,000 into it. As you can see, the bottom picture down below looks so much better. And then I went and refinanced, cashed out $42,000. What I mean by that is I went to a lender and I said, hey, I have this property. It's nice. It's fixed up. Let's do an appraisal. It appraised for, I think it was $110,000. And I was able to pull out $42,000 and I still have $44,000 worth of equity in that. What does that mean? That means I can go back and get a HELOC on it, home equity line of credit. or that means I can go and sell it and I will still make money off of it a second time. So a third time, actually, because there's a tenant in this. So I'm making money from the tenant. I made money from pulling out the 42,000, and I can make money a third time by either getting a HELOC or selling the property. All right. And the next slide. Here's a property I bought. This is the first property I got back in the game with. Remember I told y'all I was scared. This is the first property I bought, that duplex. I bought it for $75,000. Of course, I had to put a down payment down and pay closing costs. And again, with FHA, I put down 3.5%, guys. My payment, interest, taxes, and insurance was $650. Look at this bad boy. $650 freaking dollars. Okay, a month for a duplex. Now think about that. When I bought it, it had 2 tenants in it that was making $1,250, and it was and the previous owner was getting $1,250 a month based on the conditions of it in that first picture. It was filthy on the outside. Now the inside was nice. It had a new roof, but on the outside, it was totally neglected. And when I looked it up on rentometer.com and Zillow.com, the market rent should have been $800 per unit, and the previous owner was only getting $1,250. Now I bought it at $73,000. I think I put about $16,000 worth of work into it because I painted it, I redid the ladder well and everything. We did some landscaping, and when we had it appraised last year, it appraised for $142,000. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? I financed $73,000. I put $16,000 worth of work in it. It appraised for $142,000. Okay. So at this point, if I want, I could pull more money out of it or I could sell it. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to continue to hold this property and continue to make money off of it every freaking month. And I'm going to let the tenants pay down my mortgage. I'll continue to bank money, cash flow. And if I want to use this as a bank and go refinance it or do a HELOC, I can do that, because I can promise you, I don't ever intend to sell this property. It's going to be passed down to my children to continue to make money for them. All right, here's a property up top I bought for $25,000. It's a duplex. Doesn't look like one, but it's a duplex. We just finished up on it. I've got pictures and videos, but I'm not going to show it to you tonight. I'll give you my YouTube page, which is Sue Ham. If you want to go, I've got a real estate thingy playlist, and you can go look at my journey on this property. But I only paid $25,000 for it. Look at the potential rents, $1,500. Okay. Now I did put $55,000 worth of work into it. And I'm going to get my money back by doing a refinance cash out, and I'll be getting all of my money back. And let me just say this, the $55,000 worth of work that I put into it, it wasn't my money. It was actually a hard money lender. The house on the bottom, someone, and the house on the top, I negotiated that through my realtor, Maggie Cooper, and we got that deal in the contract. The house on the bottom, someone found me on Facebook and said, hey, my mom and dad has a house. It comes with an additional lot that's on its own separate tax map number. We want $30,000 for it. I say, shoot, okay. So I was like, yo, is your mom and dad willing to do seller financing, right? And they said, no, they want the money up front. So I said, okay. I didn't quite have all of the $30,000. So I turned to friends and family and I got the money. So, I took their money and I put my money together and we got this house, right? And the great thing about it was they weren't charging me any interest on the money. They was giving me the money straight, free and clear. All I had to do was, once I either sell this house or refinance it, give them their money back. Okay. Now, when you're dealing with private lenders, they're gonna put some interest on that thing because they're gonna want to make money, right? But my friends and my family, they didn't do that. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, they should have, but they didn't. So anyhow, I got an extra lot with this thing. It's currently rented for $1,275. I refinanced this bad boy, pulled money out of it, and I pulled out like $42,000 out of this. I paid back my hard money lender who gave me the money to fix it, and pulled out $42,000. And guess what? I'm not paying the loan. The tenant who lives here is paying the loan. And when they pay the loan, the taxes, the insurance, the payment and the interest, whatever's left over comes to me. I make about $400 a month cash flow off of this property. So let me explain that to you. I walked away with $42,000 in my pocket, cash free, because it was a refinance cash out, which is a loan, which is tax free. And then I placed a tenant in. and that tenant is paying me $1,275, and they pay the payment, interest, taxes, and I walk away with about $400 a month in cash flow. So hopefully that makes sense. I think on the next slide, I'm actually showing you guys what this baby looked like. Yeah, here is the before and here's the after. So let's check this out. So let's see. One moment, guys. Send to the back. Okay, there we go. Here we go. We took this baby down to the actual studs. As you can see, we stripped out all the walls. We did new rewiring. So one of the things I like to do when I'm rehabbing my houses, I like to make them like new, so that when I put tenants in there, they're not calling me and bothering me about nothing, because I know that everything is new. When I bought this house, it already had a new roof on it. So, but as you can see, everything in the inside was not new. So we actually painted the outside. We have not replaced the windows. We plan to do that at a later date, but we did update with all new drywall, new flooring, new ceilings, new doors, new wiring throughout the entire house. We closed in the carport, and we put in a unit because the house did not have an actual unit in it. And instead of it being a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath house, we actually converted it to a 3-bedroom, 2 full bath house. And so, boom, that's what we did. And I'm very proud of that. I'm actually making money every month off of that. And the money that I took out from the refinance cash out, I was able to buy other properties. So this is the before, and this is how it looks in the front now. All right, here's another property that we did. I love rehabbing properties. Some of y'all may not want to get into this. You may not want to deal with contractors and things of that nature, right? I love doing it. You can buy turnkey properties. Turnkey properties is properties that don't need any work. You may not even want to have tenants. Again, you can get properties and sell it and make a killing. And I'm going to show you my last property in a second and show you and tell you what I'm not potentially, but what I'm going to make on that property. So here's a property that I bought. This was the seller finance property. No, I'm sorry. Let me stop it. This is the property. Let's bring that to the back. Okay. This is the property that I bought that I'm actually selling. It's a 5-bedroom, 2.5 bath. We converted it. I'm sorry. It was a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath when we bought it. We converted it to a 5-bedroom, 3 bath. So I'm gonna let you see what this baby looked like before. Yeah, it's pretty falling in. When I bought this property, guys, the floors were horrible. All right, so that's what it actually looked like. Now I want to show you what we did to it. And we had this house on the market. It was only on the market for 7 days, and we got it under contract. I'm so thankful for that. But I'm going to show you what it actually looks like now. Let's send this one to the back. Let me check in with you guys, make sure you can hear me and that you can hear the video. Let's go back here. Can you guys hear me and hear the video? Yeah. Irene, Stacy, it was hard. We couldn't even walk through that house the floors were collapsing in. So we did a lot of work. And really, to be honest with you, that video still doesn't really show all the work that we put into that freaking house. But here's what it looks like now. It's been on the market. We put it on the market. It was on the market 7 days, and we got it under contract. We just did the CL 100 report. We just did the appraisal. I'm just waiting to hear what the appraisal is coming back for. But here's what it looks like now. So yeah, I'm so proud of this property. Man, it took a lot of work, guys. A lot of freaking work. And I had to fire a couple contractors. But listen, we started this property in July. We finished it in January. So that was what, 7 months? I think it is. I think that's 7 months. We listed it for $287,900. We had a contract on it 7 days later. Okay. We purchased the property for $70,000, purchased it for $70,000, listed it for sale for $287,900 7 months later. Once the deal closes, I'll come back and update you guys. But let me just tell you this, I'm going to walk away with a 6-figure payday after 7 months of work. Was it all easy? No, because again, I told you I had to fire a couple contractors, but it's so worth it because I know so many people who go to work all year round and don't make 6 figures. So, and not only that, I got to, again, remember what I told you, I got to transform the neighborhood. I got to take an ugly duckling, fix it up, make it beautiful, provide housing for somebody. And the third thing is it's a win-win-win situation because I'm walking away with cash. And from this cash, I'm going to take all of it because I've already identified several other properties that I want. And I'm going to purchase those properties and I'm going to continue to build my cash flow, which will continue to allow me to do what I want to do. You see, here's what I'm looking at. Every house that I get, that I buy and hold. Remember, buy and hold. You buy it, you fix it, you keep it, you put a tenant in, and you make money off of it. It replaces a bill for me. So if I want to buy a boat, I'm going to go buy a property, and I'm going to put a tenant in there, and that tenant is going to pay for my boat. If I want to take a trip, I'm going to buy a house, and that tenant is going to finance my trips. If I want to buy a vehicle, I'm going to buy a house, and that tenant is going to finance my vehicle. So in essence, I'm allowing my assets to pay for my liabilities. Does that make sense? Jonitha says amazing. The staging was done, Stacy, she says beautiful, by my realtor, Maggie Cooper. So you guys will hear me talk about Maggie a lot. All right, just a couple more slides and we're done. Here's some major mistakes I want you to avoid. You got to screen your tenants if you're going to buy and hold and have tenants in your property, okay? Make sure you have reserves. Remember what I told you. Just because I walk away with 6 figures, or like when I refinanced that other house and walked away with $42,000, that doesn't mean I go buy a brand new Escalade or a Mercedes or a BMW, right? No, you put away money for whenever something, if something does happen with these properties, or if a tenant moves out, then you can sleep good at night when you do that, instead of taking your everything that you make and putting it into a liability. All right. Another major mistake is not knowing your numbers, not analyzing the deal. We teach you how to do this in my program. Not inspecting your property regularly, right? You just one of them landlords who just getting a check every month. You don't care how it looks, right? That's a big no-no. You got to inspect your property regularly. You got to increase your rents every month. Why? Inflation happens every year. We saw what inflation did over the last 2 years, right? We know what egg prices are. We're in the year 2023 right now, in case somebody's going to watch this replay after tonight. But you want to increase your rents every freaking year. Put that in your lease, that your rents will be increasing every year. And you can actually put how much it'll increase by, 3%, 4%, what have you. Big mistake is not paying your loans. If you have a loan on these properties, pay your bills, man. Have pest control done. Know the eviction protocols. Know what states are eviction friendly. Landlord friendly is what they call them. So in the state of South Carolina, which is what I'm in, if somebody doesn't pay me rent by the specified time on my lease, I can go right down there to the magistrate office, pay $40 and get them up out of my house, right? Because I'm not playing them games, because I am not a slumlord. And if you do not have a legit reason as to why your rent is late, then I can't work with you. Again, I am empathetic and I am compassionate and I have worked with people. Let's not get it twisted. But I also need you to understand this: people will take advantage of you. And so if you feel like you that person is going to get taken advantage of, that they're going to sell you a dream, then you don't need to be managing your property. You need to hire a property manager. All right. And you need to have a team. These are important major mistakes to avoid. Just 2 more slides, guys, and we are done. Now, remember, I told you I wanted to tell you about an opportunity to work with me. This opportunity, you have access to me in a private Facebook group, right? We also have other investors in there as well. And I teach you everything that we've taught. I've tried to teach you in this quick 90 minutes, because it's 9:26 p.m. right now. And I still couldn't teach you everything, but I just wanted to give you a quick overview. And I hope I've done well. I hope I've done well by telling you how you can become a real estate investor by house hacking, by buying a single family home, a duplex, a triplex, a quad, and renting it out. I hope I have done well by telling you how to find properties. I hope I have done well by telling you how to get the funding for these properties. Of course, I can't go into great detail because we would be on here for hours. I hope I have done well with giving you alternatives, whether you want to buy and hold, whether you want to fix and flip, whether, that's your option. So I'm hoping that I was able to do those things for you, to answer those questions that we said I would do in the beginning. And if I did not, this will be your opportunity to ask more questions for clarification. But I want to extend an opportunity for you to actually work with me in my mentorship group. You will have access to an online course. It is online. It is for a lifetime. I am constantly updating it. Actually, some of the people that's on this webinar tonight are some of my students. So this is for your lifetime access to this course, and I'm always updating it. I'm bringing in people to talk to you about home ownership, the home ownership process. I'm bringing in lenders. I'm bringing in people to help you fix your credit, to tell you how to fix your credit, what things you need to do. So many ways to work a deal to get money. Listen, here's what I can tell you, and I'm not BSing you. I have paid thousands of dollars for information, right? And I know that for a fact, the information that I teach in my course, and because I'm there in the Facebook group to help you, other people are not teaching. I even invite my students to come out to my properties. If they're around here locally and they want to come out, come on out. I'll show you my properties. I'll show you what we do. Let me put my face back on the screen here. I'll show you what I do. I'll show you how I talk to my contractors. I'll show you how to negotiate my deals, everything. Come, you can shadow me because you've paid for that. You've earned that right. You can do that. So in this course, we teach you how to own your first rental, how to get financing, how to screen tenants, how to do Section 8 tenants, how to execute lease agreements, what cash flow is, what cash on cash is, what cap rate is, how to evaluate deals, the BRRR method, which I didn't really cover in great detail tonight. However, I do have another webinar and I can give that to you guys if you want to check it out. We also give you a workbook and glossary and so much more. But the biggest thing I think is that you have access to this course forever, and you have access to me via Facebook group. And something that I've started is that I've given my students access to me through a strategy phone call. So I'm only one person, but I try to make myself available as much as I can to my students via Facebook online, which I'm there all the time, inviting them to come out to my projects and giving them strategy calls. And so we are offering this for $997, a one-time fee. If you don't have that up front, you can always schedule a payment plan. If you're serious about scheduling a payment plan, all you got to do is email me at suham1@yahoo.com. Let me see if I can put that up there. If you need a payment plan. If you want to go ahead and purchase the course, you can find it at moneywithrealestate.com. Right now, I want to entertain any questions you guys might have. That's the email. You guys can send me an email if you say, hey, Sue, I really wanted to get into the course. I need a payment plan. Then we'll set you up on a payment plan. If you don't need the payment plan, go to moneywithrealestate.com and buy the course right away. Now, something else I want you guys to check out is, and I'll come back to the screen, my YouTube channel. If you go to my YouTube channel, let's present that channel. Let's see. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can actually, one moment, guys. You can actually go and check out a bunch of videos and information that I have concerning real estate. See right there, Real Estate Investing with Sue. Just go into the playlist. If you go into the playlist, there are 118 videos, and you can actually follow me on my journey as I go through these projects. But more importantly than that, you get to learn. I'm actually teaching. Again, like I said, I don't give fluff. I teach stuff. That's just, I love doing it. So please, by all means, go to my YouTube channel, Sue Ham, and click on that Real Estate Investing with Sue Ham, and you will learn a lot there. I promise you, you will. At this time, guys, I want to entertain any questions that you might have. I'm also going to put this back up. Let's see here. Any questions? Is FHA loan a one-time thing? That's been my understanding. Eric, absolutely not. Yeah, a lot of people think that. So Eric, check this out. The guidelines say with the FHA loan, in order to get it, my eyeliner is running. I'm sorry, guys. In order to get it, right, you have to, hold on one second, Eric. I'm going to answer your question, but I want to do something. There we go. The guidelines say in order to get it, right, you have to have the intent. Y'all can look up the word intent to occupy the property, right? Because it has to be a primary residence for a year. And after you live in it for a year, guess what? You can go get another FHA loan. But let's just say for some reason you couldn't live in the property for a year. Maybe your job is transferring you. Boom. So now you have the FHA loan, but you only fulfill 2 months of the year, right? That you're supposed to occupy it. Your job is transferring you. Well, guess what? If you can prove that your job is transferring you, boom, you can get another FHA loan. If you get a new job, the job is not transferring you. You just change jobs and it's over 60 miles. You can get a new FHA loan. If you're going through extenuating circumstances like a divorce and you and that person no longer going to be living there together and it was an FHA loan, guess what? You can move out and go get an FHA loan. So there are different circumstances where you can have 2 FHA loans at the same time. But also know this, after you get an FHA loan, after you fulfill that 1-year requirement, you can still go get another FHA loan. So a lot of investors, what they'll do is they'll buy a quad, they'll live in one side, rent out the other 3, do that for a year, boom, they go buy another quad under FHA. So it's like every year they're buying a new property with only putting 3.5% down. Hope that made sense, Eric. Does that make sense? Yes, Elizabeth. I don't give fluff. I teach stuff, baby. I've been saying that for years. I've been doing webinars for years, man. Thank you, Sheila. I'm so glad you enjoyed the class. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Stacy. Stacy's actually one of our students. Yes, you've done well. Thank you. Great info. I appreciate that. Excellent job. Thank you. Question: when you inspect your property, are you going through the entire home? Absolutely. I'm also hiring an inspector. The big house I showed you guys that we have under contract that we're closing this month, I actually hired an inspector. It cost me $400 for him to go in and inspect the house before I even put a dime down, right? I initiated the contract, but everything was contingent upon the inspection. I wanted that inspector to go in and tell me everything I needed to do because I knew that the floors were a mess. And he was like, yo, you're going to have to replace 50% of the joists, which I knew that because the floors were freaking caved in. Right. So he wasn't telling me anything I didn't know, but I just wanted him to go in and I wanted to use that inspection report to just find other things I may not know, like look at the electrical because there might be something that's wrong that I can't see because I'm not an electrician. Go and look up on the roof because I'm not going up there. Tell me if it's a brand new roof, but tell me if everything's okay. Go up under the house. Tell me if there's standing water under there. Tell me if some of the joists, the beams and all that stuff needs to be replaced. So is there a water vapor barrier under there? So yes, to me, that is $400 freaking well spent because number one, I get to find out what all needs to be done so that when I do hire contractors, right, and I have a contractor go through, they can't try to jip me. I know the different things that need to be fixed. You see what I'm saying? And then number two, I can also use it as a bargaining tool to go back to the seller and negotiate and try to get the price lowered because I'm finding all these things that are wrong with the property. So hopefully that answered your question. Again, guys, if you need a payment plan, you can email me at suham1@yahoo.com and we can set up a payment plan. Thank you so much. You've given me a lot to think about. Awesome sauce. Awesome sauce. Any other questions, guys? Let's see. I'm trying to go back up to make sure I didn't miss any. I thank you guys for staying on here the whole time. Any other questions? This is a great course. We offer a lot of great information, and I just want to help as many people as I can to have that freedom. It's all about the why, whatever your why is. You guys should have gotten a workbook with this. Did you get the workbook? What's the minimum for hard money lenders? That's your question, Eric. Okay, the minimum just depends on the hard money lender. Rehab Wallet, which is a hard money lender I use, they have no minimum. There are some hard money lenders that will not loan in a rural area. Rehab Wallet does not care. I use them. I also use ILS.cash. They don't care about a rural area. They don't have a minimum loan requirement. Some hard money lenders, you got to have $100,000 loan for them to do the deal with you. You know what I'm saying? Some $50,000. So these are questions that you want to ask. And these are the things that we teach you when dealing with these lenders, the things that you need to ask. So right now, if I want to go out and purchase a $15,000 house, I can do that with the lenders that I have access to. What is the score needed for hard money? All right. So some hard money, it's not really a score type thing, right? However, if you have a 640 or higher, you're going to get a decent interest rate. But there are hard money lenders who will loan you based on a 600 credit score. And they're just doing most times they're just doing a soft pull. Okay. How do you find a reputable appraiser? Through the lender. Most lenders will select the appraiser for you, because of everything that went down with 2008 and all that funky, janky stuff. You could get appraisers to put anything on an appraisal report and they would do it. So because of that, and the banks were just loaning to any and everybody, most banks will not allow you to pick your appraisers. They actually pick their own appraisers. Now, that does not mean that when they pick these appraisers, if they come back with some crazy evaluation, that you just go with it. You lay down and go with it. That's not the case. Prime example, one of my homes in Lake City, it initially came back, I think, at $120,000 or $128,000 on the appraisal, and I was like, no, that's not it. And I actually went out and I looked on Zillow.com. I contacted a realtor as well, and I said, hey, can you give me a report? It's called the CMA report, where they're analyzing properties that have sold in the area that are comparable to yours. And then I went to Zillow and looked at the sold, properties that were comparable to mine, and I came up with the figure. And I was like, nah, it's worth more than that. I was thinking it was worth, like 140. the guy came back, revised the appraisal, and it came in at 142. So you can always challenge your appraisal. Now, there are some hard money lenders who will allow you to pick your appraisers. Not very many, but there are some that will allow you to pick your appraisers. Now, so what I have done is I have contacted other investor friends of mine, and I'm like, do you have an appraiser that you have used that seems fair and has given you a fair value for your property? And I do have a couple of those in my back pocket. All right. You are a rock star, Eric. Thank you so much. Thank you for being on here. Any other questions? I don't know everything, and I don't profess to know everything. And when I don't know something, one of the things that I pride myself on is I have people I can go to, other investors. I have other mentors that I have that I can go to, and I have Google and YouTube that I can go to, and I will get you the answer. So that, because I'm in this thing, I'm doing it too. And my goal is to have 1,000 doors, 1,000 units. Now, I just want you to do the math. Remember, I told you, my phone. I told you my personal goal is every door I'm clearing $400 per cash flow on average, right? So 1,000 doors times 400 is $400,000 a month. Cash flow. What is cash flow? Cash flow is the money that you take to the house after all the bills are paid. So 1,000 doors nets me $400,000 a month at $400 per door, which equates to how much a year? $4.8 million a year. It's possible. It doesn't all have to be done in single family housing. It can be done in buying 50 units in one time, 100 units, a 100-unit complex. Just so many different ways to compound those doors. The biggest thing is to just get started. And the only way to actually get the doors up to 1,000 is to start by one. Some of you may not have dreams and goals or aspirations as big as that. You may only want 10. You may only want to make $2,500 to $4,000 a month and be good with it. And I ain't mad at you. You might only want to sell one property a year. You could sell one freaking property a year and make more than somebody who goes to a job all year long. Just saying that. And you don't have to quit your job in order to do this. Matter of fact, my son, he's in the second year of medical school, and we're already talking, and we're talking about how he's going to get properties and do this while he is a doctor. So you don't have to quit your job to do this. Let me go ahead and put that out there. There are a lot of people that do real estate that they're working a job. Your LLC has to be structured correctly with hard money right. I don't know what structured correctly means. Any LLC should be structured correctly. So I'm not quite sure I understand that. You just need an LLC with a hard money lender. So however you set that up, it should be done right regardless. You do need an LLC for your business. So that's the difference with using a hard money lender, a business loan. You need an LLC. However, if you want to get a single family home, a duplex, a triplex, or a quad, and you don't want to do an LLC, you don't want to do a business loan, you can still do that on your personal credit, on the personal side. Just know that it's going to go on your personal credit, and it's going to, affect your debt to income. But here's the thing. If you're renting out rooms, or if you're renting out the other portions of that property, you get to also count that rent as income, which helps to offset your debt to income, your DTI. Hope that makes sense. Okay, awesome. Any other questions? Awesome, you did get the workbook. Awesome, I'm glad. Guys, go through that workbook. I'm also going to send you a copy of this webinar so that you can go back through that workbook and this webinar at the same time and make it make sense. I want you to make sure you go to the YouTube channel and make sure you're watching those videos in my real estate playlist. That's going to help you as well. I also want you to go to moneywithrealestate.com and check out the information on that website. Any other questions, my friends? Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. I don't think there's any other questions. The majority of you stayed to the end. I appreciate that. That's good looking. Listen, I just want to say too, this is a mindset thing. I didn't really go into mindset tonight, but it's a mindset thing, right? I can teach you strategies and tips all day long. But if you don't have the mindset for this thing, you're not going to win. So you got to understand that it is going to require you putting in a little effort, a little time. I'm not trying to make it seem like, oh, anybody can do it. But the truth is, anybody can do it. To be honest with you, I'm sitting here. I talked to my 13-year-old son and my 3-year-old grandbaby, and I'm telling them about properties. I'm looking for my book. I actually went to school. My green screen is blocking it out. And I'm reading this book, Raleigh the Real Estate Investor, to fourth graders, and they understood the concept, right? So anybody can do it. It's just, will you do it? Is it going to take you doing some work? Of course, but it's worth it. Again, like I said, even with me firing those contractors, and they were costing me headaches a couple of times, it's worth it to me because I'm going to clear 6 figures. I'm going to clear 6 figures after all the expenses. So that to me is worth it, because I'm going to be able to parlay those funds into other properties. That's just going to beef up my cash flow, beef up my net worth, beef up the appreciation on my properties, and just beef up the opportunities that are going to be available to me. So it's worth it to me. I mean, if I could go to a job when I used to work at the prison that I hated with a passion and used to cry before I went in there, and I had to do it, and the most I made was $55,000 a year, I think I can do this. And I was taxed. W-2 employees are taxed the heaviest, right? Taxed the heaviest. When you have real estate, you can get tax shelters. That's what the wealthy do. Do the research. I'm not lying. Go look at Google. You are so welcome. Thank you. I'm so glad it was a lot of helpful information. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think that is it. I'm going to put my email up again for anybody who wants a payment plan. As a matter of fact, let's go to the website here. And just 1 minute, guys. And you guys will be able to see the course. And there it is. That's me right there. See the course, see what it's about. If you want to book a consultation, you can book a consultation, but everything is there. And if you want to join the course, what you want to do is the REI course. And this is the mentorship course. And this is everything that you get. It's $9.97. So we're going to go in detail. There's lots of videos, lots of PDF files. We have a free book that's in there. And you also get access to me via a private Facebook group where you get to ask me tons of questions. You get to come on my projects. If I do any seminars, you get discounted rates. Sometimes I do seminars for free just for the mentees. And you get to book strategy sessions with me. So this can be found at moneywithrealestate.com. And you would just simply click on the REI course. If all hearts and minds are clear, I think that I am going to end this broadcast. I want to thank you guys for coming in. I want to thank you guys for staying to the end. Blessings to you. I'll try to get this recording out to you as soon as possible. If not later on tonight, it'll be tomorrow morning. Print out your workbooks, go back to the recording, and get in the game. Get in the game. Your first deal may not be a home run, but baby, get in the game. And I guarantee you, if you work with me, we'll get you to the home run. You just got to be willing to go through the course, take the first step, and let's get through this thing. All right, y'all. Peace.